morning, everyone. It's Francis Joseph Lamana from newsbuffet.com. So, this morning I wanted to talk about a comment that I made, or actually, it was a video that I made for Twitter. And, I'm an investigative journalist, a researcher, a seer. I look for commonalities in things and stories, and that's what I do. I try to put bigger pictures together. And as I followed the story with Kamala Harris running for president, running for the office, I had to kind of I took into consideration several things that happened along the way, which caused me to believe that there was a fix in that they were potentially going to give the election to Kamala Harris. And so beginning with Joe Biden stepping down, I mean, it's not I don't think that was too much of a surprise. The popular perception of Joe Biden in the United States is that he was too old for the job, and just kind of, not with it mentally. That was the popular perception of Joe Biden here. So when he was asked to step down and not run for a second term, I don't think anyone really saw that as anything significant. I think that people kind of just felt like it is what it is. He's getting too old, and and instead of running again, maybe it's his time to step down. So that was kind of like the first thing. And then I think Robert Kennedy would have been a really strong candidate for the Democratic Party. I would have voted for him if he ran for as a Democrat. But Kennedy was told by his family not to run for office under the Democratic Party. They forbade him to do that. They said it would be perilous for the country if he ran for president as a Democrat. And I really, I don't really understand why they would say that to him, but that comment holds a lot of weight. And I feel like if we could get to the bottom of that, we would really come face to face with a lot of the problems that this country faces. I mean, because who knows politics really better in this country than a Kennedy? So now you have two things when you consider Kamala Harris's run for president. You have Joe Biden stepping down voluntarily. You have Robert Kennedy, which would have been running as a Democrat, which he listened to his family. So now, and I think he ran for an independent, or he was running for an independent. He definitely changed his party. So now you have two things, and not one. Now you have two things. You have Joe Biden stepping down, and you have Robert Kennedy listening to his family and choosing not to run for president as a Democrat. So, and then as if things couldn't get any stranger, then you have the two assassination attempts on Donald Trump's life. So when I was considering the bigger picture, I said, you know what? This is awfully interesting. You have Joe Biden stepping down voluntarily. You have Robert Kennedy not running as a Democrat. And now you have someone trying to kill Donald Trump. So it seemed to me that, God forbid, if they were successful in their attempt at Donald Trump's life, who would Kamala Harris have ran against? And that's kind of the way I was looking at it. Like, remove 3 out of 3 people, and they would have had no alternative but to give her the presidency. The only problem is that they were unsuccessful in their attempt at Donald Trump's life. Thank God. When I took that into consideration with the overall mood or attitude towards Trump within politics, it seemed like Obama was happier to see Kamala Harris running for president than he was to see Donald Trump still alive. Like, I don't think he ever really did I didn't see any footage of him actually, saying, "Hey, you know what? I'm glad you're all right." Nothing like that. So, there was a lot against Trump. A lot of people saying that he was only running to keep himself out of jail. But I guess that's all water under the bridge now. But those are the reasons why I felt the way that I did. I'm actually kind of shocked and surprised that Trump did win the election. Um, and it is what it is at this point. It's kind of funny because I didn't vote for Donald Trump when he ran for president the first time, and I really didn't think I wasn't sure about how I felt. And I think I wrote about this in one of my books, but I wasn't really sure about how I felt with him as president because I kind of felt like there was a little bit of a conflict of interest because he just owned way too much property. Like he was way too personally invested in the economy, I felt, to be president. But, after speaking with some people, my brother included, he's like, you know what? That's why he would probably be the best president because he's got so much money invested in the American economy. I mean, who would want the economy to succeed more than a guy that's got millions of dollars invested into it? So, so yeah, that's kind of how I felt about things originally, but I think ultimately, I think he is the best person for the job, and I feel like the right candidate did win. In general, I just feel like politics in this country took a strange turn in the early 1800s. There was a time when there was, no political parties, and someone decided that no one could run for presidency in this country unless there was effective opposition. And I really think that that was the beginning of the end. Not the beginning of the end, but that was the beginning of dirty politics in this country because if you're following that rule or that law, then you're doing it just because you have to do it. You know what I mean? It's like you might not have any arguments with what I'm saying or what my plan is for the country, but because there's a law in place that says that there has to be effective opposition, well, you're going to make up an argument. You're going to come up with anything just to follow the laws pretty much, if that makes any sense. Um it's kind of like I used to have a job teaching for a company that was federally funded, and there was a lot of paperwork involved with the company because anytime the federal government gives you money, there's always a lot of documentations that you got to fill out. And some of the paperwork was just impossible to fill out. It was like it just it just didn't apply. Like the age of the kids that I was teaching was just it wasn't possible. Let's just put it that way. The things that the paperwork was asking them to do, they were just too young to do. You know what I mean? They were just not really developed. So when we got to that paperwork, it's like, well, what do we do with this? We can't fill this paperwork out because the kids are only 3 and 4 years old. So how do we test them on things that they're incapable of doing at their age? And the answer to that was just to fill out the paperwork. So that's kind of the same thing. It's like you don't have an argument, you don't really have anything to say, but the law says that that no one can run for the office of president without there being effective opposition. So you have all kinds of people stepping up and pulling arguments out of their butt just to have something to argue about because that's the law. And I really think that that was the beginning of like a long run of just bad politics in this country because you don't always need a rebuttal. You don't always need someone to argue with what you're doing. Sometimes you just need people to be on board with you. So other than that, I mean, that's pretty much what I had to say. I didn't really prepare a long video. I want to thank everyone that visited newsbuffet.com and inquired about the astrological analysis. I was very busy doing readings for the last month, and I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And if you haven't had an astrological analysis done, visit newsbuffet.com, and there's a link at the top of the page that says astrological analysis. That'll give you a full description of what it is. You can also email me and we can speak. There's an easy pay button at the bottom of the page that says astrological analysis on it. It's blue. It's a $60 item. But it's very, very in depth. The last analysis or reading that I did was it was a PDF document, 43 or 4,500 words, 15 pages typed. So you're getting something that's really in depth, and a lot of the feedback on it has been excellent. People definitely feel more motivated, more confident, and better prepared to make decisions and handle the energy that's unfolding daily for them. So nothing but positive responses, nothing but positive testimonials, and I'm thankful for that. So the website is newsbuffet.com. It's NOOZBUFFET.com. And that's pretty much it. Have a good day. My name is Francis Joseph Lamanna, and I will talk to you later.